Salam, konnichiwa, especially to General NPO, who has kindly invited me to attend this particular forum. My name is Nurul Izzah Anwar. I'm a Member of Parliament from Malaysia, from the seat in Penang called Permatampau, and I'm sincerely apologetic for not being able to be with all of you today in a very important discussion with regards to democracy and the land or the parliament that witnessed a democratic transition after 6 decades of one coalition or one party rule. So certainly it brings me great pleasure that my colleague YB Maria Chin Abdullah from the seat of PJ Selatan is there with you, and I really have to extend some of my thanks and gratitude and hope to share my thoughts with regards to democratic transition in Malaysia. Now we talk about democracy, and it's a crucial, important form of government, perhaps imperfect as some would say, but the best form of government to include various stakeholders. And in the context of Southeast Asia and Asia itself, it's important to see transitions take place so that the people can experience and can judge accordingly across the different styles of governance, and having the 3 branches, mainly the legislative, which is where laws are promulgated. You also have the executive, the cabinet, and the government, where they stamp certain decisions, and a very robust judiciary. Judiciary is crucial because you have to have a rule of law to ensure whoever it is that transgresses the law of the land, that is involved in abuse of power or corruption, will be met with the harshest of sentencing to ensure it deters others from continuing the same. I've been asked by General NPO some questions, and it is my very humbling experience to share with you some of my thoughts. I hope we could learn from each other. This is my 3rd term as Member of Parliament. I started contesting at the age of 27, and it's been a very uplifting experience. And I must say, without the position and the role of civil society, previous opposition leaders, including general people, general Malaysians, they are the ones that allow us to see the key issues affecting the grassroots. They also allow us to see how policy making can ensure economic growth trickles down, or when it fails to trickle down, what are the necessary social safety nets that you have to introduce to make sure all parts of society can enjoy economic growth, not just the select or privileged few. And I'm going to ask Syed here to ask me further any questions. I was asked to answer the following. Please go ahead.
YB, since the previous general election, what is the issue and challenges you have faced?
Manifold. I must say I started campaigning at the age of 17. My father was then a political prisoner, and of course we saw firsthand what happened when the Prime Minister and his office amalgamated so much power that they could control literally various agencies and different branches of government in this country, whether it is the police force, whether it is the media. I saw firsthand how trial by media was conducted. So clearly an opposition or a politician who was not part of the incumbent or the government would face many challenges. They would have an unlevel playing field. The Election Commission is very much working in favour of the government of the day. We also had different agencies, whether it's the police force, who feel that they are subservient, that they have to maintain the control of the existing political party in power, instead of maintaining a far more safe and secure environment for all to enjoy. So it's not easy, right, when you talk about change. You can have a manifesto, you can have new players in government, but the system remains. You have the role of the civil service, some are helpful, some less so, and you also have older players. Who would have thought Tun Mahathir Mohamad would come and be Prime Minister of the country? And of course he brings with him his own set of baggages, his own set of experiences, plus and minuses. And it is part and parcel of our change, but it also pushes us to always adopt best practices and find ways to empower younger players. Because what is change if you don't include the generational aspect of it? We have, of course, the youngest member of parliament who is now a minister of youth, Syed Sadiq, and that's a positive development. But like it or not, I think it will take a long time before we can revamp the system whilst maintaining the good practices of the previous government. Malaysia is built on strong fundamentals. I always maintain we might be a semi-democracy, but we are also proud of our fundamentals. We have a strong central bank governor. We have a strong system of export-oriented growth, and we are seen as one of the tigers in Southeast Asia, even though our roar was not as loud or as fearsome as the late 90s. But all these things sets the stage for our future growth and opportunities. We are trapped in the middle income trap for the past 23 years, but we're certainly not a pariah state. So how much can we save the nation, protect our system from the excesses of extravagance, from the excesses of corruption and abuse? These are some of the things that we have to think about together as an ASEAN nation, right? As neighboring countries who care about many things together. And I think some of the issues that we face, whether it's an aging population, whether it is a skilled nation that is not meeting the needs of the future. Everyone talks about the fourth industrial revolution, but you have to look at what are the capabilities of your human capital. And being a nation where the absorption of foreign workers, both legal and illegal, is rather high, provides us the opportunity to think about these things much more fluidly. So the first thing I'm doing right now is to push forward for adequate allocation and space for the opposition. Now, a government and a democracy can only succeed if the opposition is allowed to breathe, to act as a check on the possible excesses of the government of the day. So to that end, no matter how painful it is to have been former victims, being silenced, being blocked our rights to participate actively, our allocation as members of parliament when we were in the opposition, we cannot repeat what they've done to us, and we have to ensure Malaysia can soar further by allocating proper space to the opposition. So I feel that the concept of the loyal opposition, it makes sense, because everyone's supposed to be loyal to king and country, and no one can claim loyalty and ownership over the patriotism, because it belongs to Malaysians and the citizens as a whole.
Okay, another question. Meanwhile, in many parts of Asia and the world, strongman-style leadership and authoritarian governments are gaining momentum. So how do you view these retreats of democracy, and how can recent Malaysian experiences help the challenges democracy faces?
You see, there's a difference between wanting decisive leadership and authoritarian leadership. And then, as a young person who started in this journey, I would not be able to survive if my voice was stifled by the leaders of my party. It's important to understand, you're talking about creative thinking, you're talking about innovative thought. How can you have any of those to work when you have authoritarian leadership skills? I mean, no one owns the best of ideas. I mean, even leaders in government need to rely on the private sector and independent thinking to make things work. So I think Asian values is often equated wrongly and in a flawed manner to the concept of authoritarianism, when we're not that. Asians are hardworking, Asians want the better future, and Asians are able to articulate their thoughts better and if there's a freer environment. I am agreeable to proper security, stable growth of the nation, but not at the expense of creativity, not at the expense of stifling the true voices of the people. So to that end, I think we have to start thinking much more modernly, look at what President Trump is doing in America. I think the fact that the strength of America lies on the independence of its institutions. So we learn from the very best, whether it's East or West. You can't hate people for the color of their skin. You can hate people for just basing them on their past. I agree. No one wants to be supportive of former colonizers. But again, if there's some practices that are good, we have to learn from them. And that's how we cherish and move forward this ASEAN or Asian values. I can learn so much from Japan, as much as I can from China as well. But one thing I cannot let go of is the quest for true freedom that should be enjoyed by each citizen. Arigatou gozaimasu, General NPO, for this opportunity. I am very thankful, and thank you for lending voice to Malaysia. We are important not because of our size, but because of the credible and the moralistic viewpoint that we can bring. And it's not about us teaching you, it is about us learning from each other. And we always are and continue to be inspired by Japan, and we hope that this collaboration, not just G2G, can continue, because it's people to people and the values that matter, and that will make us stronger as a collective voice in ASEAN. Thank you.